parked the car here. We're going to look around. There's a beach over these buildings behind me. We've got about an hour and a half to kill before my next records visit, so let's check it out. Okay, it's now been a couple of weeks since we've had that trip up the Sunshine Coast for check out two places to get some videos. Some videos, goodness me, some albums. So we'll just quickly go through those now. So the first place I went to, very disappointed when I got there. I was supposed to have 18 albums put aside for me and others, but after that long drive I did at getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to leave at 4 in the morning to drive 2.5–3 hours to get to this place. It was a garage sale. They did say they'll put them aside. We got there and the lady said, oh, sorry, the neighbour came in and took those just a short while ago. Sorry about that. So, you know, a bit disappointed, but you know, I love Elvis, and you know, I'm just starting my collection, and to miss out on the opportunity to get a good boost to my collection was a bit of a downer. But anyway, I understand that these things are going to happen, unfortunately, and sometimes you got to be at the right place at the right time, and even planning to go to the right place at the right time doesn't always work. So anyway, they did have a bunch of cheap, like $1, $2 records. They were moving. They weren't that good. They're all sort of compilation stuff. Your typical Johnny Mathis hits of the 80s, some country stuff, you know, that you get. So the best country one, I got a Kenny Rogers Greatest Hits, and that has about 20 songs or so. It's in great condition, so it's a good start for someone like me who doesn't really have a lot of country, never really been into country that much, to sort of explore one of the legends, I suppose, and listen to that. One thing I did get from that bunch was this one here, Johnny O'Keefe. Those of you in America, in particular, wouldn't have heard of this guy. He was massive. I mean, massive in Australia in the 60s. He was one of the loudest singers you can get. He had an amazing voice, and he really cranked the 60s scene here in Australia, the pubs and club circuit. And yeah, typical Australian rocker, you know, sort of, he probably drank a bit, got into fights, all that kind of stuff, all that great stuff you need attributes to be an Australian rocker, but fantastic music. I remember being about 15 years old and lying in bed and hearing a song called Shout, which has been done a few times in a few movies, but to hear the original of Shout, the extended version, you know, he's screaming and singing, then it goes all quiet and he sort of hushes a bit, and the backing singers and the drummer slow down, they slowly build up again. I remember listening to that probably about the first time when I was about 13 in bed. It was about midnight on the old crackly radio. I cranked it up as loud as I could, and it was just phenomenal. It just one song at that time in my life that really made me want to get into rock and roll even more. So, you know, only a couple of bucks for this, but you know, all these good tracks that I've enjoyed as a teenager. And then from there we drove further north, a couple of hours away further again, or an hour away further up the Sunshine Coast of Queensland. And there's a fella there he must have oh, 10,000 records or so. Um, One funny story he told me is that like all of us, or some of us, where we collected records earlier and then stopped and went to CDs and sort of gave away a lot of stuff. He did that too, but one day, probably in the early '90s when CDs were really taking over, he was at the dump one day and there was boxes upon boxes upon boxes of records that were being thrown out, and he just said to the guy, "Oh, I wouldn't mind having this." He said, "Sure, take it." So he's kept all this stack for 25 years or so. He's just starting to bring them out of his garage. I actually went to his garage and yeah, it was just rows and rows and rows of records, mainly jazz. Jazz is something I'm just starting to explore and learn about. But um, anyway, we went up this little spooky sort of windy gravelly driveway up to his house, and his wife told us where to go around the side of the house. So we went around and he had it all set up under his big veranda. Had dollar records, and he had $5 records and sort of $10 records, all sort of negotiable type of stuff. So the dollar ones were ones you'd say are the older stuff. Us vinyl junkies aren't really into. Some of them had a little bit of damage. Um, the next rack of records he had were pretty good. There's some good stuff in there. Some of the good stuff was a little bit beat up, and then he had his stash, which was inside. So he'd bring them out one pile at a time to for me to go through, and he'd sit down and he'd grab his newspaper and he'd sit here like this, and every now and again to have a look up, see what I was doing. Wasn't taking, I was a stranger to him, I suppose. He wanted to make sure I wasn't scratching the records or something. But I'll quickly go through the cheap pile of stuff I've got that's sort of up to $5 price range. I'll just grab those. Okay. Cat Stevens, T for the Tillerman. You might have seen my early videos. I've got a couple of Cat Stevens, so to have a couple more is great. And the Father and Son song is on this, so very familiar song, great song. And yeah, just great to have another Cat Stevens. Nina Simone, again, part of my introduction to a bit of older music and jazz, that type of stuff. She's there. So it's called Here Comes the Sun. So as you can see, so I'm not really too familiar with this song. So well, there's a song like Mr. Bojangles and Just Like a Woman and Here Comes the Sun, that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to hear a woman like Nina Simone with a fantastic, amazing voice crank out some of those tunes. I know. Xanadu the soundtrack, but if you're a vinyl junkie like we are watching this now, then you'd probably in some ways appreciate this. It's in the 70s, a bit of reflection on disco, but some good songs, and another good Aussie artist, Olivia Newton-John, singing in this, and a nice gatefold there, and ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, playing some music. So it's one of those things you kind of got to have. Billy Joel, Glass Houses. I've got a couple of Billy Joels now, and I think he's a great singer. He, like a lot of singers over the decade, I mean, he's still going. This one has songs like You May Be Right. So there you go. Why not? Gene Pitney, another big artist in the 60s. Amazing voice. He's worked with a lot of good artists over the years. A favourite of my mum, so you got to keep in with the parents, and when you get their records and know what they went through, because another 30 years I'll be boring my kids with stories. Let's hope vinyl's still doing well in those 30 years. This next one I was really pleased to get in that lower price bracket. I don't think the guy kind of knew, but Eagles Live. I'll just take this one out. That's Eagles live in '86. Any Eagles stuff is fantastic, of course, whether it's live or studio recorded. You just got to have it. And pretty cool gatefold there. No need for me to tell you what tracks are on here. This is a real cheapy Simon & Garfunkel. You see this in the cheapy bins. It's not an authentic, genuine, proper studio album. But I don't have one of theirs yet, so this is my very start. This one will probably move on in about a year's time when I do get some proper studio recording. So the ones on here, you got Scarborough Fair, Cecilia and Homeward Bound, so I hope it plays well. This one's a bit beat up, but another one of those sort of standards you got to have in your collection. Hot August Night, Neil Diamond. My old man had this on cassette. A lot of great tracks. I think it was a great, not a bad recording concert in my opinion. So there's some footage there. So I hope the media plays well, and eventually I'll get a better copy of this as time goes on. But this one my wife really wanted, not really for me at all. I'm not into these sort of stage musical type albums. I was listening to one song the other day and I actually recognised that it would be on this album. So yeah, the cover's in really good nick actually for the age. So that's for you, my wife. Unfortunately, a bit of writing on the top, but Elton John, Honky Chateau. Any Elton Johns usually you're going to do well. You're going to get some good records on there. I've probably got about 4 albums of his now. So yeah, for a few bucks. Band on the Run. This is quite beat up. You can see the ring wear in here. But yeah, I can't wait to play this album. I've been wanting to get it. You do find it around the place, so eventually I'll get an upgrade copy. But you got songs like Jet and Band on the Run. Yeah, what more can you say? Roxy Music. I've got a few Roxy Music now. I've liked them all that I've got. So happy to keep collecting Roxy Music. And a little bit dirty on the sleeve. I just bought some cleaning wipes actually recently, so I'll talk about that a bit later. It'd be nice to clean up some of these old dirty records. And another Elton John, Man Across the Water. This is actually a bit of a sought after record in the vinyl community, so I was pleased to get this for a couple of bucks. And it's got Tiny Dancer on there. And a gatefold, interesting gatefold here where there's nothing on here. So if there's anyone there watching, is something missing from here? Was there something stuck on there? It's just a bit odd to have a blank space. And then I moved to the next grade of records he had, and I grabbed these. So I'll move through these. I don't want to bore you too much. So it's the B-52s. And Rock Lobster, probably really the only decent song on here. Out of all these records, this one probably the most let down for me. But I love Rock Lobster, and I was always going to get it. So Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits. I think this will be the volume 1. So it's my first Bob Dylan album. I sort of got a lot on CD, but this is a good start for me into the records. I will look forward to getting his studio album soon. I don't know if you can see the songs on here, but basically every song is a fantastic song. Johnny Winter, live, captured live. If you like your rocky blues and swinging guitar and so forth, well, that's me anyway. Elvis Christmas album. You got to have an Elvis Christmas album, especially at Christmas. But I've got a long time until that is. So he had a few of these. I picked the best one. As you can see, the cover's really good. So Elvis Golden Records. I believe this is a volume 1. I've seen one very similar that's a volume 2. So I love Elvis. So here we go. Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young, Deja Vu. And the gatefold. Plenty of great songs. Teach Your Children, Woodstock, Deja Vu and Country Girl. There's a lot there I like. I listened to this the other day, not on their album, but on digital music while I was washing my car. And I really loved it. So just, fantastic musicianship, well written song. So it was what a time of the century in the 70s and that late 60s making this sort of material. I mean, just fantastic. Foreigner. What's this one called? Foreigner Records. So this is basically like a compilation of Foreigner. Lou Gramm, of course, who went on to do a solo career and so forth. So you got songs like Cold as Ice, Head Games, Urgent, Hot Blooded. It's a nice, in really good condition. This flick through there, as you can see, that sort of opens up a bit there, and nice gatefold. Not much on the back there of the sleeve. Steely Dan's greatest hits. I am up to a lot of their studio albums, but this is a good start for me. Again, I don't have any of their studio albums, so songs like Reeling in the Years, Josie, that type of stuff. Just, again, great musicians, great recording, great studio recording, so I'm looking forward to hearing this one. Roxy Music, yes, another one. So this one's called Stranded. Again, I heard this on digital music. Haven't put this on the turntable yet. And I was very pleasantly surprised. I hadn't really heard much of Roxy Music prior to this find. And I found it really good. Actually, Brian Ferry was good singing. He can sort of vary his voice a bit. At some stages, remind me of Jeff Buckley. There's a bit of post-punk type stuff in there. Bit of mixture, but overall, I'm pleased with it. And if you open the cover, Roxy Music, what do you think? What's their best album? There's a lot out there. I've seen quite a few and sort of reluctant to put them back, but which ones do you think I should be getting? Neil Young, After the Gold Rush. My first Neil Young record, like Crosby, Stills and Nash. I'm just wanting to get all of these. I'm hoping to get Harvest Moon shortly, which is a classic. So this one here doesn't have a inner sleeve at all. So if you can tell me if there is a missing inner sleeve, just let me know, because I can upgrade my copy. Grover Washington, Wine Light. So a bit of sort of early 80s, late 70s jazz. So it's not too bad. Just the two of us. A lot of you guys will probably know. So Grover's been recording over quite a number of years. Maybe a little bit too 80s for me, with the horn section and so forth, and the beat of the drum. It's just probably a little bit too 80s jazz for me. So if you like your 70s, 60s jazz, this may be hard to take, in my opinion. And the last one, which is a great find, I thought, is John Lennon's Shaved.
It's 2 o'clock.
From what I hear about it, it's basically an album put together of a compilation of B-sides and odds and ends and things like that. But you got things like Give Peace a Chance at the start, which only goes for a short period of time, which a lot of vinyl junkies like. If you don't like the song that much, it doesn't go on and on. But interesting design. But what else would you expect from John Lennon? Alright guys, that's my latest video there, number 3. Thank you so much for listening. Please give the thumbs up, subscribe, share, put some comments down below. Like I said, if you make some comments about these videos, I do read them all and reply and take them aboard. As I said, I'm new on my journey as a vinyl junkie, so appreciate your insightful thoughts and experience to help me and to help others watching this video. Thanks very much. Cheers out.